Good morning, everyone. So I know I said it before, but I just want to say it again. I missed you over the past couple of weeks that I was engaged with the Southwest Region Conference. We had a great conference, and it amazes me how much of what we experienced at the conference could lead right into today's lesson. Much of the conference could have been titled Living Right Side Up. There were portions of the conference that addressed inclusivity and the language that we use that excludes ourselves and others. And there was a portion on ethics and following the code of ethics for ministers and licensed teachers, and a large section on self-care. Not from the standpoint of eating right and getting enough sleep, we all know about that, but from the standpoint of looking at what we are already doing that affects us in positive ways and building on it. But it is good to be home and to be with all of you. So I would like to just begin this morning with the Sanskrit writing that is at the beginning of the chapter. And so if you want to just sit back and close your eyes, I'd invite you just to take these words in, let them wash over you. Listen to the exhortation of the dawn. Look well to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all the verities and realities of your existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, but today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. Such is the salutation of the dawn. And from Jesus, I came that they might have life and have it abundantly. That's from John 10:10. So our story today begins with Mr. Turtle, who is lying on his back still. And he's been lying there for a while, and he's getting a little testy about it. He's just feeling like he's been there a little too long, and he was just he knows that he's learned a few things about seeing the world from a new perspective, and yes, he understands that there's new ways that he can live his life if he ever gets right side up. He knows that he has the power to choose, that each moment he has the power to make a choice. He can choose his attitudes, he can choose his actions, he can choose the experiences that he wants to participate in. Then he learned the power of honoring himself, that he is a turtle of value, and that all others have that same value, no matter what. How much we are worth is not based on some imaginary scale of lists that lists our differences. We are priceless because we are creations of God, equal without exception. His next lesson was to dream big and to create affirmations that are in alignment with his dreams. He also learned that as our dreams come true, sometimes they change shape. What we thought we were dreaming of in the beginning changes into something even grander as we continue to listen to Spirit and trust where we are being led. Today, a butterfly comes by and lands on his belly, and he's been laying upside down for so long that his little belly is a little sunburned, and so he is a little cranky. And so Al explains to the butterfly what is happening. And then he explains to Mr. Turtle that the butterfly represents living on purpose in the present moment. What does it mean to live on purpose? For me, To live on purpose has everything to do with living from my highest understanding of spiritual principle in every moment. When I'm in tune with the now moment, I'm in tune with the inner voice that speaks within my heart. And when I listen to this voice and make the choice to follow it, I am living on purpose. Living on purpose will always bring me more joy and hope. Not hope from the standpoint of hoping for something out there to make us okay. Hope is a vision of possibility. True hope leads to action. So the author, Steve Goodyear, tells a Hasidic story about a rabbi and a soap maker. The soap maker goes to see the rabbi and he tells them, I'm done with Judaism. I'm done with religion. You stand up there and you teach us that we can make a difference in the world, that we can bring peace and justice and charity into the world. But it has done none of that. It's done nothing of the sort. Does that sound familiar? The rabbi gazes at the man with compassion and invites him to take a walk. And they go for a walk out to the park. And they see these boys playing out in the park. And they are dirty from head to toe. And the rabbi says, I don't mean to be rude. I know that you're a soap maker, but apparently soap is ineffective. And the man says, nonsense. Soap is only effective when it's in use. Ah, but the same is true of religion, countered the rabbi. Religion, too, has value only when its teachings and principles are applied to life. What I love about this story is that we are responsible for our spiritual path. It is we who must put into practice that which we hope and dream. No one can do this for us. Whatever we desire to experience is ours to bring into the world. I've shared the quote from Talks on Truth by Charles Fillmore before, but I think it's well worth repeating. You can attain to everything that you can imagine. If you imagine that it is possible to God, it is also possible to you. Whatever possibility your mind conceives, that is for you to attain. This is the law. Let none belittle himself or dwarf the supreme by trying to annul it. And now I want to read that in another way. I want to read it as a collective we at Unity of Verde Valley. We can attain to everything that we can imagine. If we imagine that it is possible to God, it is also possible to us. Whatever possibility our mind conceives, that is for us to attain. This is the law. Let none belittle himself or dwarf the supreme by trying to annul it. Charles goes on to say, God is and we are. Let us live in his world, not a world to be tomorrow, next month, next year, or next century, but here and now. God's beautiful universe is all about us, only awaiting our acknowledgement of its presence. Let us know God and live. Live with love and joy, health and peace, here evermore. There's a lot of unrest right now. We hear polarization between people of different colors, different political affiliations, different religions. We hear of people getting sick and dying without the support of their families because of a pandemic, earthquakes, and devastation. These things deeply affect people's lives. People are looking for an answer that will fix everything that they perceive to be wrong. What if the answer lies within us? What if we are called to live what we teach? And that will bring into the world that which we would like to experience. You might be thinking, but what I think will make me happy and what my neighbor thinks will make them happy are in conflict with each other. In fact, they're way far apart. Well, this may be a fact, but the truth is, when we live in the present moment, we open ourselves to a deeper understanding of our desires. One of the major teachings in Buddhism is that everyone has the same desire, the desire to be happy. The desire is no longer about getting our own way. It is about bringing love, peace, and joy into the world. It's about having hope within our hearts. This hope contains within it a power that motivates and moves us forward. It moves us in the direction of creating a future that works for all. So the question remains, what does it mean to live fully in the moment? If I live fully in this moment, in this now moment, does that mean that I don't make any plans for the future? Does that mean that I don't set any goals? No. No. Sometimes we need to make plans. If I'm having a dinner party and I say, oh, I'm only living in the now moment, then when I get around to inviting people to the dinner party, they're probably going to have other plans. And I won't have anything to feed them because I will not have prepared anything. Living in the now moment is about being awake to what is happening within us in this moment. What are thoughts? What are the thoughts that we're holding? What are the thoughts that ruminate about the past and what happened to us, or about the mistakes that we made? Are they fears of what might happen tomorrow? When we allow ourselves to bring our thoughts to this moment, we open our minds to the presence of God, speaking within us. It is only in this consciousness that we can open our minds to allow new ideas to come in. It's only in the present moment when desire is more powerful than fear, fear of failure, fear of success, fear of what others will say, fear of the changes that the desire will call us to make, that we can choose faith anyway. Fear is the killer of dreams and desires. Fear will hold us back and has held us back from experiencing life in its fullness. What are the tools that we have to deal with this fear? I can think of three. And the first one is really simple. So when we become aware of what we're thinking and we're headed down that track that isn't leading us to a place of peace and love and joy, we can simply say this one 4-letter word: stop. And you know what's funny? Our thoughts will obey that command. They stop. And we can choose in that moment to do another thought, to have a different thought, one that brings love, peace, joy. Now, I'd like to say that you just have to do that once, but that's probably not true. You probably have to do it more than once. And so then you'll find yourself again going down that track. And as you're going down that track, you just say, stop. And you fill it in. You might want to fill it in with the affirmations that you created from last week. What are those affirmations that you want to carry with you? And that's the second piece. The second piece is to enlist a friend and share what the change is that you would like to have in your life. Saying it out loud is powerful. In Unity, we talk about the power of the spoken word, that power that we have to speak our word. And scripture tells us it will not return to us void. What we speak out loud has power and dominion. And so we can speak it out loud, and we might want to write it down and keep it with us so that we can speak it out loud again. And the third one for me is to celebrate the changes that we notice. When we have a moment that we notice that we're doing something new, say something happens and we don't react in the way that we would have in the past, celebrate that moment. Express gratitude for yourself. Pat yourself on the back. Say, wow, this is great. I am celebrating, I'm acknowledging the precious gifts that I have received and that I have put into work in my life, and it is making a difference. Each moment that we allow this to happen, we make a difference in our own lives, the lives of those we love, and the whole world. We have the power to bring happiness wherever we are. In the book, Steve tells the story of a man whose life was a mess. His business was going under. He had just gone through a messy divorce. The new relationship that he was in was not going well. And he was stressed out beyond belief. And so he gets a simple nosebleed that began to become a problem. And he was bleeding so much that he found that he just wanted to lay down on the floor and go to sleep. He knew, though, that if he went to sleep, that he would die. And that he had a choice in that moment. And he chose to live. He chose to call 911. That choice, that simple choice to choose to live. And so after he recovered, he realized that that choice was going to require that he make some changes in his life. He was going to have to make some serious changes. And so in making those serious changes, he sold his business. He made some serious relationship changes. I'm sure he made some changes about the way that he viewed himself, how he treated himself and how he treated others, and how he valued this moment. This moment is when we make those choices. This is the moment that we have the choice to choose to live. Making that choice is about making the choice that will transform our lives. And so I want to take just a moment and talk about something that is kind of underlying in this. And that is the difference between having a translative experience and having a transformative experience. A translative experience is when we go into meditation and we have that experience. We might see lights. We might have, just some kind of existential experience, and it feels so good. And we come out of meditation and we go, wow, that was awesome. That was so great. But it doesn't transform us. It just feels good in the moment, and then it dissipates. Or it might be going to a service and a church service or a spiritual service of some kind, and being in that experience and feeling really good while you're there. The music is uplifting and you connect with people and you're having a great time. And then it just dissipates and falls away. A transformational experience is an experience where we put into practice, when we engage with what we learn, we engage what we hear, we use the bar of soap and allow the soap to do its work. The soap is really a great analogy because we choose to use the principles, and we allow the principles and spirit to do the work within us. It is spirit that makes those changes. It is spirit that transforms our thinking, transforms our experience, transforms the way that we view and see ourselves, each other, and the world. Unity's fifth principle is the principle of action. It states that all the other principles are good and they're great, but they only work if we work them. It's kind of like in the 12-step programs, they have a saying that says, it works if you work it. It's up to us to decide what it would look like for us to live right side up. Is there a change that you've been putting off? Is there something you would like to take on? I'm going to close with this poem that is an anonymous poem that is in the book. Life itself can't give you joy unless you really will it. Life just gives you time and space. It's up to you to fill it. And so I'm going to invite us to prepare ourselves for meditation. And as we do so, I invite you to maybe bring to mind a change that you would like to make in your life. And we're going to create a space in which to hold that change. And so I invite you to breathe. To just breathe that sacred breath. Following the breath. As it takes us down into our hearts. Opening up and creating a space. Creating a holy space. In this moment, we may think of someone that we love and allow ourselves to feel that love. To just feel that love. And send that love back. We may imagine the embodiment of a spiritual being, whatever that spiritual being might look like for you in this moment. And feel the love from that spiritual being. Being sent to you and through you. Feel this love saturate every cell, every atom of your being. And in this field of love, I invite you to bring to mind that change, that desire. What is the desire of your heart? And as we bring that desire into this field of unconditional love, we listen. Is there an action step that is yours to take? As your mind begins to wander, just bring your mind back to that field of unconditional love. Living in the now moment. I am empowered. Living in the now moment. I live in love, peace, and joy. Living in the now moment. I make a difference in the world. And so it is. Amen. Mm.